It's been a few days and the Manchester United manager news has kind of gone quiet. We assume it's going to be Ollie. We assume Ollie's going to be returning, but it's just so quiet. What's happening? What's the delays? Another meeting with Ollie today, a meeting with Carrick 2 days ago. Are they choosing between Ollie, Carrick, Fletcher? Or is it because Ruud van Nistelrooy is also in the mix? We know that's confirmed by David Ornstein. INEOS are considering Ruud van Nistelrooy. What is the latest on the news regarding him? Ahmed and Mbeumo are back from AFCON and should be available for the Manchester derby. Manchester United have regrets about not keeping Ruud van Nistelrooy have been revealed, and maybe we should have just kept Ruud van Nistelrooy to the end of the season as interim and waited until the summer to get a permanent manager, because while Amorim didn't succeed, I think bringing him in mid-season when we were 3 points off Champions League football, when he had to play a completely different style of football and change up the team, maybe we should have just kept Ruud, who kind of would have got tuned out of the team. I know we played Leicester twice, but we played all right when Ruud was in charge for 4 games last season. Manchester United have been linked to Senesi coming in at the back. Zirkzee now set to stay, and the latest on Baleba and Elliot Anderson will be covered. So, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your 10-minute Manchester United news, transfer news, update, roundup show, where I'm going to round up all the latest Manchester United news, manager news, transfer news, and more in the next 10 minutes for you guys. If you are new, feel free to subscribe. If you want daily Manchester United news, feel free to hit that like button, and let's get into it. Ivory Coast lost 3-2 to Egypt in the African Cup of Nations quarter-final tonight, which means Ahmed will return to United. He'll be available for Manchester United's derby next Sunday alongside Mbeumo. Gutted for Ahmed because he's probably been one of the best players in the whole competition this tournament. He's been absolutely fantastic. Was fantastic today. But you know what? I'm quite happy he's coming back, him and Mbeumo. I think we can deal without Managerial. I think Managerial is an improvement on Delo, and I think now we're playing a back four. I'd like to see Managerial come back. But you know what? I think Morocco will win. I think they are the best team in Africa. But it's nice to have Mbeumo and Ahmed back. I'd like to see Ahmed right wing, I've decided, and Mbeumo left wing. I think Mbeumo could do maybe that Rafinha type role with the crosses he puts in. I know shooting is a big part of his game, but Ahmed was looking so good at right wing for Ivory Coast. I kind of want to see him back on that right wing, because I actually think this season, I know a couple fans turned on him after 3-4 games and he had a slower start, but I think Ahmed has been one of the best right wingers in the league this season. He's played basically right wing back. I think that he's been a lot more consistent than other names. So let's get into the manager news. United are hoping to have clarity on who will lead them for the rest of the season early next week. Ruud remains in contention. Don't forget that. According to sources, one of the issues around a potentially appointing Solskjaer to the end of the season is the makeup of his backroom staff. This was said by Rob Dawson. Now, INEOS will look at Ollie. Ollie, when he came in as interim, the vibes, getting the dressing room back on side, came second, came third, when the standards were much higher at the club, when he had to work with Woodward. And INEOS know Ollie will basically do the job for free, so it's going to cost them less money. The ex-pros won't give them criticism if they employ Ollie, so that takes media pressure off them. 3, Ollie is a bit of a yes man, and he's absolutely desperate for the job. And the fans will want Ollie back because he's a club legend and a pro and all that. So INEOS kind of know if they bring back Ollie, ticks loads of boxes for them, easy, boom, 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 boom. But the problem is, if you bring back Ollie, his best work came with Carrick and McKenna. Now, we can't bring back McKenna, we can bring back Carrick, but he might not want to be number 2 to Ollie, and we have to bring in backroom stuff for Ollie, and then that actually costs INEOS more. They could bring in Carrick. I think Carrick did a good job at Middlesbrough, considering the resources he got. Carrick as interim was decent. I think there's a good manager in Carrick. He's a midfielder, and maybe he can fix those midfield issues. You've got Fletcher currently at the club, and I wouldn't have Fletcher as permanent manager. I'd rather Carrick just because he's got more experience. Or you go, you know what? The guy that only worked with him a year ago and actually had us looking all right, yes, we did play Leicester, was Ruud. Now, you could say Ruud was shocking at Leicester. He was, but I think any manager would have gone to Leicester and they still would have gone down. I think Leicester, just hit that light. I think Leicester were that bad that it doesn't matter who the Leicester manager was. I think they would have gone down. I know that we played all right under Ruud. I felt that we were probably better under Ruud than we were under Amorim, but Amorim did want to change to a 3-4-3 and completely change up what we were doing. Maybe Ruud is more familiar. Like, I think Carrick is probably a better coach than Ruud, but you got to remember, Ruud came second with PSV. He won trophies with PSV. He knows probably the team better than Carrick and better than Ollie. You could potentially look at someone like Ruud to the end of the season. But I'm happy with Carrick, Ruud, or Ollie, I think, till the end of the season. I'm not like jumping for joy. This is going to change our season. This is going to get us Champions League. Because, like, ultimately, these are interim managers for a reason. But we'll see what happens. Because David Ornstein also said some similar stuff. The third name in the frame after Ollie and Carrick is Van Nistelrooy. He's been spoken to, whereas Wilcox will be meeting Ollie and Carrick because he doesn't know them from previously. So obviously Ruud van Nistelrooy's been spoken to a fair amount Wilcox because Wilcox actually knows him, but Ollie and Carrick have had meetings because he doesn't know him. So basically that's why we haven't maybe heard as much about Ruud van Nistelrooy, because they already know him. And obviously I've had meetings with Ollie and Carrick and they're still not making a decision. Some people are saying they're going to wait till Monday, see how Fletcher does. Some people say they're delaying the decision. They've got to think about this. They know they messed up last time. Who knows? But I think the fact that Ollie hasn't signed a contract yet says to me this could open up the door for someone else to come in. Continuing on. Andy Mitten confirmed that when Ruud van Nistelrooy, they had some regrets at United. They just let him go. He was very popular. Not just tactically, but we need a guy that's going to manage the team that the players like, that is popular, that can bring some life into the dressing room, because even the players just wanting to be there, having vibes, happy can make a difference. When Ollie first came in as interim, the instant vibes of going from sort of a negative Mourinho to a positive Ollie injected life into that squad. And I think, Ruud van Nistelrooy could potentially do the same. We've seen, Sesko's first game without amorim, he got way more chances created for him, looked a lot better as well. And I think he could learn and grow from someone like Ruud van Nistelrooy as well, because why Højlund wasn't great, Højlund was a lot better under Ten Hag than he was under Ruben Amorim. And I do think one thing that we might gain from bringing an interim in is maybe we can get the best out of Sesko, because Sesko had 7 shots on target. We've never created that many chances for Sesko than we did versus Burnley. Of course, it was versus Burnley, but you look at Wolves, the team below Burnley, we played them at home, and Le Mans kept us in it. I thought that, potentially Ruud van Nistelrooy working with Sesko could be quite exciting. Continuing on. Mark Senesi plans to leave Bournemouth as a free agent this summer and has already informed the club of that. Manchester United contacted his representatives in December, but their interest could be called due to managerial changes. I don't mind Senesi on a free. It's not like someone that I would pick right away. It isn't like my first choice, but the way I look at it is he is a decent player. He is a decent defender. He's 28. He's Premier League proven. He plays centre-back. We lost Lindelof and Evans on a free. Maguire's probably going to leave at the end of the season on a free. Like, as a depth option, I don't mind bringing in Senesi. If we're going to a back four, the way I see it is we've got Leacher and Heaven as our left centre-backs. We've got Yoro and De Ligt as our right centre-backs. But you could say there's only 4 options with the injuries we get. If we're hopefully in European football next season, we're going to need a 5th. Senesi is a 5th option if Maguire doesn't agree to lower his wages. If Maguire agrees to lower his wages, keep Maguire as a 5th option. But Senesi is a 5th option on a free. I'm not against. He's a solid centre-back. I think we need a centre-back for depth, really. I think, you could argue we should look for a Mark Gay or a proper good centre-back. But the way I'm looking at it is left winger, at least 2 big midfielders and maybe a 3rd smaller one, and a left back. So that's 5 done. That's 5 positions done. That centre-back, well, we could do better there. I think if De Ligt is guaranteed to stay fit, I think there's a player in Heaven. If Leacher can stay fit, I think there's a player in Euro, even though he's been off it this season. I'd probably prioritise other positions. Talking of Zirkzee, it was said that Manchester United have closed all doors now with the managerial change. It looks highly unlikely to sign Zirkzee now. So this was said by the AS Roma director. I think now that Amorim and Mbeumo are returning from AFCON, if Zirkzee's going to know, we're going to know it. If Zirkzee's going to go, we're going to know in the next week. I think United are going to wait to see who the interim is with Amorim and Mbeumo to return. I think we could let Zirkzee go, but I think what we can do now is we're in a position of power. We can say, well, we don't want to let Zirkzee go. We've got a new manager in, but we know Zirkzee still wants to go because he wants minutes ahead of the World Cup. Roma will go, well, they don't really want to sell him. So we can't offer a loan with an option to buy. We're going to have to offer an obligation. They've offered a loan with an obligation to buy under certain conditions, but I think Roma are going to have to offer us straight up money. Like, I think if Roma went, we'll give you 35 million right now for Zirkzee, I think we'd sell. And I think it's up to Roma now to see, are they ready to push and do a permanent deal? But they only really want to do a loan for Zirkzee. It's kind of one of those with Roma. I think we're in a stronger position. And I think with Rashford, with a manager being sacked, Barcelona kept saying they can't afford Rashford. All of a sudden, Barcelona are like, oh, we're just letting Rashford know we will buy you in the summer. Whereas I think if Amorim was still here, they'd try it on in the summer because they'd know we'd be desperate to get rid of him. And he wants to go there. Whereas we could just say, oh, we'll bring him back. With Zirkzee, we could just say we're happy for him to stay. I think sacking Amorim means that these players that we know Amorim didn't want, all of a sudden they could be wanted at United. So teams now have to big up for them. And then last but not least, Romano gives an update on Anderson and Baleba. He said that United have put Elliot Anderson at the top of their midfield shortlist alongside Baleba, but it's very unlikely United will make any moves until the summer. United are desperate to sign multiple midfielders. So that is all your latest Manchester United news rounded up in 10 minutes for you guys. Please do go ahead and hit that like button if you did enjoy today's video. Feel free to subscribe down below if you're new. See you next time. Bye.